Well, good afternoon everyone and welcome to Katran TV UK. You're joining me down on one of my Kent carp fishing syndicate waters. This is the Chilston Stour. Now, I arrived at the lake yesterday about 4 p.m. and by the time I'd sort of got to the swim, picked where I was fishing, and then got the rods out, it was dark. So I didn't really have too much chance to update you, so I left that to the morning. Now, it's a very, very bright, sunny day, and believe me, 3 hours ago, it couldn't have been more polar opposite. It was absolutely peeing it down. Everywhere is soaked and mucky. It's just we are now Halloween in a few days, so you get to this time of year and there don't ever seem to be any pattern anymore. The weather does what it wants to do and it changes like that. So now I've got some news as well that I am pretty wounded. This morning I lost a fish. So 8 o'clock in the morning, bosh, my left hand rod is off. It is bent round to the left. So I've hit into it and a fish is trying to take me dead into the island, like the marginal island spot. He's trying to snag me up. So I managed to pull it out of that. I did have to turn it. Then get it from there and I thought, sweet, we're rocking. Then it decides it wants to take a massive charge down into the left-hand bay, where it's very, very snaggy down there. So I had to turn it out of there, and great, got it out of there, awesome, we're rocking. And then managed to get it out into the open water out here in front of me. And I thought, home run, yes, bosh, we're in. Nah, it then decides it wants to charge round here to the right. And so I've had to sort of take my left-hand rod. He's trying to go through my other line, so I've pulled that under my other two over here. I am in contact still and I'm trying to turn the fish, but the fish decides it wants to go right down here into this snaggy tree section, which apparently they know to do, which I found out afterwards. So they're clever fish, they're switched on, they know they want to hit them snags. And basically, I lost it. So I'm very, very sore. It was a big fish. I know we all say that when it's the one that got away, but it was a big fish. Big, steady lunks, and long. There weren't no flutter. As it's going through the water, it's just going through very steady. So, and that brings us to now. So I've got till tomorrow morning. I'm out of here at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And then we're going to be heading round to Chilston, round the corner, and we're going to do 36 hours round there. So this multi-venue syndicate feature should hopefully get us to have a fish for the camera. If it doesn't, it's still going to be going up because you can't just do a film when you're catching a fish. This is just the reality of fishing. You don't always catch. It's absolutely wicked when you do. It's mega. But that's just fishing, you don't always catch them. I haven't really done too good down here this year. I've done 5 nights down on this syndicate and I've had one fish. Was a 39-pound too, so it was a big old fish. The stock in here is quite big. They do go, there's to upper 30s, most of them, and there is a fair few 40s in here now. So to be fair, in this lake, if you catch one under 30, you're unlucky. There's a lot of 30-pounders in here. Well guys, we're going to talk a little bit about bait now and baiting approach. So I'm a Baitworks user. I've used Baitworks for a very long time, and I have the utmost faith in it. I know that if I'm out here, blanking, I know that it's nothing to do with the bait. This is a high quality bait. It's proven, it's caught me a lot of fish. It's caught a lot of anglers a lot of fish. So that's never ever gonna be a question in my mind that the bait's causing me to not be catching. Now, that sort of confidence for me is key in a bait. Now, I'm using the Creamino Shelf Life 15mm, and I'm using the Creamino pellet. And on here, I'm going to be mixing it up a bit. So I'm also going to be adding in some Atlantic Heat pellets and some of the Atlantic Heat Super Boosted Bag and Stick Mix. Now, my reason for this is that on this lake, I've noticed from like sort of experience from speaking to people, seeing the catch reports, things like that, that there don't seem to be much preference. Like there's people catching on fish meals, there's people catching on the creamier baits. So I just think that in here that I'm not noticing anything to sort of say just use Cremino. In stark comparison to my other syndicate around the corner, whereas it's definitely a sort of creamy bait dominated lake, so Cremino over there absolutely smashes it. Now, mixing this up, I believe that I'm going to be giving sort of variation. So there's a variation of colour, a variation of taste and smells. So by mixing it up out there, I think personally, I'm going to be doubling the chances of getting picked up. I don't think that there's going to be a mirror carp sitting out there going, oh mate, I don't want the fishy stuff, I only want the creamy gear. I don't think that's plausible, is it? So to put a variation of bait out there, it's going to give it a bit of colour, and I just think it's going to increase chances. Now, applying the bait. So this water allows the use of bait boats, and I think that if you've got a bait boat and you're on a lake that allows you to use bait boats, then why wouldn't you use a bait boat? All right, if you haven't got one, you're not going to use it, but if you have, you'd be silly not to use a bait boat for pinpoint accuracy. You really can't beat it. So my aim is to be putting the shelf life boilies out, crushed up and in halves, alongside a little sprinkle of Cremino pellet, a little sprinkle of the heat pellet. And then what we're going to do with the bag and boosted stick mix is you just want to take the powdery mix, and then you want to add a little bit of lake water to it. Only if you're not using PVA bags, obviously, but I don't think I actually need to state that. So, but it's going out in the boat, no PVA bags, so I can add a little bit of water there, just to give it a little bit of substance really, because if you just put it in dry as a powder, I think all you're doing is that as the drawer on the boat opens, the powder's just going to go straight around the top of the layers. It's not going to sink. So add a little bit of lake water in there. We'll get that to sink with the rest of the mix. Hopefully sits pretty on the deck. So yeah, there's not really much else to talk about when it comes to bait. Any of these baits will catch your fish. Hopefully a mix of them might just do it a little bit better. Well guys, it's going to be dark in about an hour, so what I want to do is just have a refresh on the rods really, make sure that everything's out there, all pucker, all singing and dancing, ready for the night and the morning. Don't want to take any risks really, because we're out of here at 10 in the morning, so I want to make sure that there's sort of nothing hindering my chance at having another take. So every rod is basically identical. I've got the same setup on all three, so we're going to show you the setup on this, and it's the same all round. Now, first up, we have got a length 1 metre of the Komodo chain core by Katran. So this stuff is absolutely fantastic leader material. It's ridiculously strong. It's something like 80 pound breaking strain, so your chances of breaking that are absolutely minimal. It's also stupidly heavy, so it's got a chain style core running through the middle, as it says in the name. And what that does is that will take the contour to any lake bottom. So as you can see, if I hold that now, I just drop it, it's so heavy. It will just sink like a brick to anything. And any sort of like substance on the bottom is going to take shape to. It's absolutely brilliant leader material. And if you yourself are a leg core user and you can get away with using leg core leaders, then I would definitely say give the chain core a bash. It's absolutely fantastic. I love the stuff. And if you didn't want to buy a whole spool of it, if you go to riglocker.co.uk, they actually sell it in like a 1 metre length there, so you can just give it a test, make sure it's for you. But I do think once you've bought one, I do think you'll be investing in some spools of the stuff. So moving down from there, we're going down to the leg clip. So we've got a quick change lead clip system, and then attached to that is a 4-ounce stumpy distance lead. That is my choice of lead, my favourite pattern of lead, and I have no sort of reason to change. Some people like a flat pair, but I tend to like this sort of style. Now, rig wise, we're using a Slip D combi rig. This is formed out of the Phantom fluorocarbon by Katran, and then it's whipped up with some of the Enduro. And to this, I've got a little kicker, and then size 2 J Precision wide gate hook. So size 2, why, you say? Why not? It's a big hook, I know. Some people really wouldn't maybe want to use a hook that size, but for me, it's strong. I think that when you're fishing up to a tight island spot where you've got to make sure that you've got the power to pull it away from any snags or any danger, then I think a size 2 strong hook like that is absolutely ideal. Now, mounted onto there, I've got a little Hell wafter from Baitworks, and then that is exactly what's going out. So let's get it in the boat, get it out to the spot, and hopefully we're sitting pretty for the morning.
Oi, oi, chunkala, bosh bosh.
Well, I'm off the mark. I just had this one, a lovely mirror, £31.8. So absolutely cracking result. I'm absolutely made up, especially after losing that one this morning. This has absolutely paid dividends and then more. So yeah, caught this on a little Hell wafter on the rig I showed you before, using some Komodo chain core as the leader. No problems with this one at all. Oh, what a fantastic fish. So I am absolutely elated. Let's spin around, have a look at the other side. Right, well, here's the other side of this beautiful mirror. What a cracking fish. Let's get her back, get that rod back on the spot, and hopefully we can have another one. What a cracking carp. Well, good morning. As you can probably see behind me, it's a very wet morning. It rained all night long, and I pretty much knew that if we got an heavy downpour like that, it was going to turn off the chances of getting one in the morning. It's a pretty shallow lake most of the way round on here, and I just find myself that when you've got shallow waters, when you get heavy downpours of rain, it tends to switch the fishing off, and you sort of waiting for the gaps in it. But I ain't got the time to wait now. I've got to be off of here in the next sort of 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So we're gonna start getting packed up, get ourselves off to the lake round the corner, my other syndicate. It's about a 10-minute drive, but I've got to stop off for a few supplies. So I will catch up with you in a little while, guys. See you soon. Well, that's everything packed up now. So the swim's nice and clean. Lost one, managed one, on to the next place. Here we go. Let's
get in that van.
Well, very good afternoon, guys. You're joining me now round at the other syndicate. So we've made the 10-15 minute drive round the corner to Chilston, and I did have to stop off. I had to stop off at Outlaw Tackle. I had to get a barra cover because we're due an absolutely horrendous downpour tonight, and I don't think that my landing mat covering up the barra is going to cut it for this one, so I had to go and get a proper one because I left mine at home. Rookie mistake, but is what it is. So after going there, I made my way down to the village shop and I got some supplies so I could eat and drink for the next 36 hours. Otherwise it'll be a pretty sad session. And then got to the lake, had a walk round and decided to set myself up in swim 23. Now, swim 23 is a lovely bit of water. It's probably my favourite swim on this lake. It commands a massive chunk of the lake all out in front here. You've got no worries of anyone coming and casting over the top of you or trying to sheep you up, because they just can't get anywhere near you. So in swim 23, as you can see in the distance there, you've got this far side of the island, and then you've got all the way up to midway down the Willow over to your right there. And then we've also got this massive area of the bay down to my left hand side there. So it's very shallow down here. You're only looking at areas of about 3 foot, 3.5 foot at a push. It even drops as low as 2 foot in areas. So this time of year, I don't want to be fishing on 2 foot. We've got a massive cold rain coming in. The water temperature's down. In the summer, I'd happily put a rig in 2 foot, but not at the end of October. So I've selected the deeper areas to fish in. So yeah, 3.5 foot. Tactics, they're pretty much the same, minus a few little tweaks because lake rules. So I've had to switch out from barbed hooks to barbless hooks because it's a barbless rule, and I've had to get rid of the chain core, the Komodo, and I've had to switch that over to tubing because you're not allowed any leader. There's a complete leader ban on this lake. Baiting stayed pretty much identical, still using chopped up Creamino, chopped up pellet, and with the addition of a little bit of heat pellets in there. And I've made an addition for this lake of chopping up some worm. Now, reason being, the lads told me that they've been bringing a hell of a lot of naturals in on the weed beds, and I think that just adding a little bit of chopped worm in there might just give it that nice sort of natural scent around the bait, a little bit of some live food there. It might just tempt a fish that might be being cagey. Now the plan is now to obviously rods are out, but the plan for tomorrow is we're going to show you a few more bits of what Katran have got to offer in way of products, and I will catch up with you then. Unless I have a fish, then I'll see you much shorter than that. Cheers guys, all the best.
Well guys, I'm hoping you can actually hear me through the sheer amount of rain we've had. It's absolutely chucking it down buckets. So since I updated you yesterday that I'm at the lake, it's now 9 in the morning the next day, and it's absolutely chucking down buckets, and it has all night. It hasn't stopped. And I actually left my front at home, so I've had to sort of make almost like a barricade to the front of the bivvy to try and stop the rain, because the way this swim is, can't actually turn the bivvy away from the rain. It's the front will always be at the front unless I face it back towards the other way of the swim, so that like I'm totally opposite way to the water. Yeah, wish I bought the front. So, but yeah, so this is just a little update now to basically say nothing's happened. It's gone as I thought it would. When this lake is chucking it down hardcore, it just don't tend to fish. Mark the bailiff just come round to do his checks, and he says only one fish out. So Yeah, it doesn't tend to fish. This rain just kills it off. I think it is that mix of shallow water. So, but as soon as the rain clears, guys, we'll have a look at some of the products that we're using and have a look at a few bits and get more of an update going on. So for now, I'll speak to you in a little bit. Well guys, as you can see out in front of me now, it's still absolutely smashing it down. So yeah, it's been a very, very horrible wet session since I come over to this lake from the other one. Bird life, as you can see there in the distance, they've been absolutely all over the gaff. So yeah, it's not looking amazing. Like I said before, it's not known to do that well when there's heavy rain on him. It just seems to switch off. But we're here, the rods are out, and hopefully guys we can get a break in the weather, show you a few bits, and maybe even nab one in the break. Well guys, if you're looking for something nice and easy to cook on the bank, this is something I like. It's basically I'll get red pesto potatoes. So all you need is get a tin of the old new potatoes down from Tesco or Sainsbury's, wherever, like 40p a tin or something, and they're really good for this. Get yourself some of the sun-dried tomato pesto, or you can just use green pesto, depends on your choice there. So I've got the Filippo Berrio, whatever it's called, sun-dried tomato pesto. Some garlic olive oil, so to give it that extra garlicky flavour, and all you do fry them up like in the Ridge Monkey in the pan, or whatever pan you've got. So I fry the potatoes in the oil and get a nice crispy coating so they sort of go a bit like roast potatoes, then just give them a dose in that red pesto, and you get like a really nice crispy pesto covered potato. Cheap, really cheap to make, easy. You could get in the sort of midi pan. Bang on. Well, it's only a little one, but it's a fish. After losing that last one, it's nice to have a little one. So, boy, he wants to get away. Well, it's not a big one by any stretch of the imagination, but I lost one earlier on, so I'm pretty gutted. But this one sort of makes up for it now. So it's only a little one, but it's a proper beauty, and more than happy to get this one on the bank, to be fair. So it's one fish from each venue. I don't know if I'm going to stay the night tonight. We've apparently got some mega thunderstorms coming, and I'd rather avoid them, especially when it switches off when it rains. Both the takes have come when the rain stopped, and it ain't really stopping really overnight. So yeah, I might get off, I might stay, still deciding really. But this one is definitely a welcome visitor. Thank you very much, mate, for visiting me. Awesome. Well, there we go, that's the second one. So I've had 3 takes now, landed 2. So lovely common, just under the £20 mark, literally just under. But it's a cracking fish. It gave me a hell of a fight, to be honest, it beasted me up. But we got you in, so happy days. Look at that angry fin. So yeah, tactics exactly as we said before. No real change. I'm fishing up tight to an island spot, and yeah, this is my reward now. So cracking common. Thank you very much. Well, that one's a chunk. Happy days, something of a bit of size. Look at them scales along the back. Absolutely lovely. you're definitely a little bit meated in the others, isn't you, mate? Happy days. Well, so we just had this one, goes 28.5 pounds. It's absolutely bucking it down. It's been a really wet session, but yeah, another one in the bag, 28.5, happy days. Right guys, got this nice low 20 fully, so I gave it a little treatment over there, so that's where you can see the lift scale. But lovely low 20 fully. So dark, I'm going home. So let's let him go, eh? Off you go, lad. See you later.